Okay, good afternoon. I call this June 10th, 2026 meeting of the Placer LAFCO Agency Formation Commission to order at 4:01. Please rise and join me in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thank you. Good afternoon. Okay, can I get a roll call? Amy?
All right. Commissioner Alpine.
Here.
Commissioner DiMattei.
Here.
Commissioner Friedman. Here. Commissioner Gustafson.
Here.
Commissioner Rohan.
Here.
Commissioner Youngblood.
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Bass. Absent. Alternate Commissioner Landon. Absent. Alternate Commissioner Spriggs. Here. Alternate Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
And Chair Eklund.
Here. Thank you, Amy. Okay, agenda item number 3, reports from staff. Do we have any updates or reports from staff today?
No, we don't have any reports. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. 4, changes and approval of the agenda. Are there any proposed changes to today's agenda? Seeing none. Okay. Is there any modifications? Proposed modifications? No?
I'll move approval of the agenda as stated.
Okay, great, thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Great, thank you. Okay, so then we'll be moving down to public comments. Is there any public comments on the approval of today's agenda, either here or online?
I'm looking behind you. I assumed. No, Jennifer, okay.
Okay, that's easy. Do we have any online?
No hands are raised.
Okay, great. Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move.
Okay. First.
We just did.
Oh, we did. Oh, sorry. Okay, went back. Close comment. Sorry.
It's okay. It's been a
Wait.
long day.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
didn't
Yeah, I'm
need to get
sorry.
here.
Chair Eklund, you need to open it for public comment for items that are not on the agenda.
Oh, great. Okay, that's where I was at. Okay. Opening it for items not on the agenda. Is that right? Okay, no comments. And I'm closing public comments. Great. Okay. Okay. Seeing none. So do I need a motion again? I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So now we're going to 6 consent items.
And Chair Eklund, I do have one clarification to make on an item on the consent agenda. It's item 6C, or excuse me, 6D. It will be page 17 of your agenda in the staff recommendation. This is the item for the contract amendment for South Fork. The date to which the contract term will be extended was inadvertently omitted from the recommendation. So I'll read the recommendation with that date inserted, and so such that I would, the commission, if it were to approve the consent agenda, would be approving this item with that date included. So that staff recommendation that's on page 17 will read, the interim executive officer recommends that the commission authorize the commission chair to execute amendment number 6 to the agreement for on-call staffing services with South Fork Consulting LLC, extending the contract term through June 30, 2027, and increasing the contract NTE amount by $192,360, subject to approval as to legal form by LAFCO Legal Counsel.
Okay. Great. Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to request that we pull item E for discussion.
Item E.
I'm sorry, item F, sorry, for discussion.
Okay. Pulling item F. And okay. Does any member of the public wish to comment on the consent calendar? Hearing none. Any online? Okay, public comment is now closed. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
With the modifications made.
Oh, with the modification of staff recommendation for item 6D. Do I need to read it out? No? Okay.
And pulling out.
And pulling F.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar minus item 6D and F. Oh, okay, 6F. Okay.
Okay.
Second.
Great, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Abstain?
I'm sorry, Chair Eklund, I think it's more, since we're in a teleconference meeting now, you'll need to do a roll call vote for the consent.
Oh,
Approval.
okay. Okay, Amy, can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Alpine?
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei?
Yes.
Commissioner Friedman?
Yes.
Commissioner Gustafson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan?
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood?
Yes.
And Chair Eklund.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, so then we're gonna we're pulling item F, LAFCO project number 2024-04, Placer County Cemetery District's Municipal Service Review and Sphere of Influence Update, contract amendment number 3.
I just wanted to ask our staff about this. We are going to open the public hearing on the MSR, but there's quite a few inaccuracies that I found. And as we continue to approve contract amendments, it concerns me that we're not sending a message to the consultant that I'd like to see better public documents, because I think it reflects on all of us and all of you and the consultant contract. I know we need to extend it because the work isn't completed, but we've been doing a lot of extensions. And I just want to make sure we have that discussion as a commission if need be. So those were my only comments. I don't know if you want to respond, Amanda, or...
Sure. So this extension is to extend the contract itself, not increase the budget. It's just to make sure that we have a contract in place with RSG to complete the final document through the process. So we extended it to September. We're assuming the final draft will be before you in August, but we're giving us a little bit of wiggle room to, in case there's a little extra time needed.
And is RSG going to present on the MSR today?
Yes, they will be presenting on the MSR
Okay, so we can discuss
today.
those issues then, and I don't have any problem extending
Okay.
this to continue, but I do, we've talked
Thank you
about
for your
this
comment.
before.
Yes.
Yeah,
Commissioner Gustafson is noted.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just want to make note that we're proposing to extend the contract. Yeah, it's through September 30th. Okay, the as needed item E was through December 31st. So we're doing this one just through September 30th, confirming, Amanda?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so both contracts, but anyway, I'm happy, that was all I had to say, was I wanted to make note of that, the issues I'm seeing in the work product.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions that they want to add? No? Okay. Do I just do roll call?
I'd have a motion to approve the item.
Okay. Oh, okay. Opening for public comment on item F. Any online? Seeing none. Okay, closing the public comment.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, motion to approve and second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Wait, a roll call. Oh my God, you guys. Okay.
Yeah, just to clarify, when the Brown Act was recently amended, it provides that at teleconference meetings, votes should be done by roll call.
Okay.
I think on items that your commission doesn't actually have to do a vote, such as adjournment, we don't need to do a roll call, but on anything that's substantive, which would include consent items, we need to do a roll call.
Substantive. Okay. Okay, can I get a roll call?
All right. Commissioner Alpine? Yes. Commissioner DiMattei? Yes. Commissioner Friedman?
Yes.
Commissioner Gustafson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan?
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood?
Yes.
And Chair Eklund.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, Moving to public hearing 7. A is final budget and work plan for fiscal year 2026-27. The commission will consider adopting the final budget and work plan for fiscal year 26-27. We'll now open the public hearing for 7A. We have a staff report.
Thank you, Chair. And Commissioners, I will try to keep this brief. I know you've had a long day. So the final work plan outlines 34 projects and tasks, most of which are ongoing and will carry forward into the, from the current fiscal year and carry forward into the new fiscal year. The final budget totals $1,304,727.88, consistent with the Commission's adopted operating budget for the current fiscal year. I'm just going to briefly review changes that occurred between our last hearing in April and today, and those can be found in attachment A, and those changes are highlighted in yellow. So they're in red and highlighted in yellow. Those are all the updates that were done from when you last saw the work plan and budget. So if you turn to page 47, you will see highlighted in yellow at the top, there was an added description of the increase in the professional and special services. That's County Ledger 52390. And this was added as item 5 under the proposed budget assumptions related to cost increases from Placer County departments. And specifically to, the updates we got from Placer County departments. Then on page 49, Ledger 5239, we have an update. There was an increase to that ledger to $12,000 from $9,145.10. And that percent increase was to cover the proposed new memorandum of understanding from the County Auditor Controller's Office. So that cost went up by about 44% from last fiscal year. Also on that page, you can see Ledger 52360 in the final budget table was decreased from $228,000 roughly to $225,000, and that was to account for the increase in the ledger for the auditor increase. And then on page 51 is the beginning of the estimated invoice amounts for special districts, and those were updated due to an updated amount in revenue for the Tahoe Forest Hospital District. So those numbers changed for the special districts. Regarding the final work plan, staff amended the list of administrative projects to include the senior analyst position that was included in the proposed and final budget, but was accidentally omitted. The proposed and final budget assumed the recruitment for a senior analyst position would occur in this next fiscal year. So the second senior analyst position remains postponed to a future work plan. So you have one hiring this year and one for next year. In addition, you can see throughout that attachment A, there were some contextual changes to the language where it was said proposed, it switched to final throughout the report. Are there any other questions? That ends my presentation.
Any commissioners have any questions from staff?
I do have a question. We had a Zoom for the funding agencies on June 2nd. I was curious about whether or not you had any feedback.
We did not. There were only 2 attendees and no questions.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? Okay. I'm now opening the public comment for this hearing. Do you have any public comments? Seeing none. Is there anyone online that would like to speak? Just have to use your hand feature. Seeing none, okay. I'll close the public comment period for this hearing and bring it back to the commission for further discussion or a motion.
Point of further discussion, sorry, couldn't get my mic on, is just, again, this is a very aggressive work plan, some of which were projects that we started a couple of years ago with the intent of staffing up, and we're still not staffed up. So I really, again, appreciate the work on setting priorities and making sure that we deliver on what we can do and be very transparent of what we may not be able to do given the lack of staffing. And I think that communication goes a long way in helping LAFCO have a good reputation in the community and with the agencies, because I see we even have new applications coming in, and again, there's a lot on our plate. So I think we all as commissioners thoroughly recognize that Amy, Amanda, and Colette have been doing yeoman's work, and that we are not going to get to all of this. And so how we can best help that. So I'm fine approving it as is, but really transmitting that to our public, that we're probably not going to be able to deliver as timely as they all want on every aspect of this. So I just wanted to make that comment. I didn't, okay, so that's a motion to approve.
Okay, great, thank you. Amy, can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Alpine.
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan.
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood.
Yes.
And Chair Alpine.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
Chair Eklund.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. This is the second time. All right, moving to B, LAFCO Project 2404, Placer County Cemetery District's Municipal Service Review and Sphere of Influence Update. We'll receive a presentation and the draft MSR SOA update for the Placer County Cemetery Districts. And open the 45-day public comment period. This item will be continued for final document review and adoption at the August 12th, 2026 meeting. CEQA lead agency LAFCO, Class 6 category exemption. Okay. We get a staff report on this?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So as you know, this is the first comprehensive cemetery MSR that has come before Placer LAFCO. It's quite an extensive document, and we have RSG, our consultants who produced the draft report for us, and they are here today to provide a presentation for you. So I'm going to turn it over to them. Thank you.
Alrighty, I'll get us started. So good afternoon, Chair Eklund and fellow commissioners. For the record, my name is Carol Aram-Neiman. I'm an associate here at RSG. So RSG is a consulting firm that provides services to cities, districts, and counties throughout the state. We specialize in LAFCO-related projects that include annexation and reorganization studies, but more importantly, we assist in the preparation of municipal service reviews and sphere updates for LAFCOs. So we're here today to present to you the administrative draft MSR and SOI update for the public cemetery districts that operate in Placer County. Today, I am accompanied by my colleague, Kendall Scroth, who's an analyst here at RSG. My colleague, Joe Glickman, is also here today, who's going to be assisting with some questions when the time comes. But Kendall and I will kind of tag team the presentation today. But I'll go ahead and get us started with some of the background information just for context. So if we can go to the next slide, that would be great. Alrighty, and so this overview is really just starting to start off with an overview of the purpose of the MSRs, and this is really to help or benefit our audience and provide a refresher for the commissioners. So the purpose with the municipal service reviews, or MSRs, is really to provide an independent assessment into an agency's service performance historically as well as into the foreseeable future. So the MSRs really have three goals in mind, which are A, to serve as an informational resource to the public. Secondly, to inform LAFCO's associated task as required under statute to regularly update cities and special district spheres. And then lastly, to produce, whether directly or indirectly, boundary changes and or other local government changes that can include things such as consolidations of districts and or even dissolutions. So in sum, the MSRs capture and analyze information about the governance structures and efficiencies of service providers, with a particular emphasis in helping to identify opportunities for greater coordination between service providers, as well as looking at ways that service delivery could be enhanced. And so with respect to the agencies that are covered in this municipal service review before you today, it includes the 6 public cemetery districts that are listed on this slide, which include the Auburn Cemetery District, the Colfax Cemetery District, the Newcastle, Rockland, and Golden Hill Cemetery District, which we will be referring to as NRG throughout this presentation, and then the Placer County Cemetery District 1, Roseville Cemetery District, and then finally the Tahoe City Cemetery District. Next slide. So to briefly summarize our progress to date, this project kicked off in November of 2024 with a series of data collection and review of available district information and records. We then conducted interviews with district staff in January of 2025 and completed a site visit to several cemetery locations in April of last year. The goal with these interviews and site visits was to better understand the facilities, the operations, and services of these cemetery districts. And so based on that information, we prepared a technical draft, which was circulated to LAFCO staff and district staff for review. And then following multiple rounds of comments and revisions, we incorporated the feedback received and updated the information where necessary and refined the report's findings and recommendations accordingly. And then most recently in May, which was last month, we updated the technical draft and recirculated that to the district staff for a second round of courtesy reviews to ensure that we are accurately capturing information and to address any remaining comments before the preparation of the administrative draft before you. So the document before you today is the administrative draft MSR and SOI update for these 6 public cemetery districts. It reflects our analysis of information that was collected throughout this entire 2-year process, including the financial, operational, and governance-related data, covering the review period of 2020 through 2024. So this draft is really intended to support today's discussion and the public review process. And so now with that overview of our project timeline and some of our key milestones, I would now like to hand the presentation over to my colleague Kendall. She will walk us through the background details of the agencies as well as the determinations that are reflected in the report. And you can go to the next slide.
Thank you, Carol. Commissioners. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Kendall Shrimp, analyst with RSG. To begin, I would like to provide some background on the 6 public cemetery districts in Placer County. Next slide, please. Or I'm sorry, can you go to the previous slide? Thank you. Before discussing individual districts, this table provides a high-level overview of the 6 cemetery districts included in the study. As shown, the districts were formed between 1917 and 1965 and vary considerably in both geographic size and population served. Service areas range from approximately 40 to 170 square miles, while population served ranges from roughly 6,000 residents in Tahoe City to more than 217,000 residents in Roseville Cemetery District. Despite these differences, all districts provide core burial services. Most districts offer a combination of burial plots, cremation services, and niches, while service offerings vary somewhat based on district facilities and their operational models. Overall, these districts function as independent special districts that provide an important public service to communities throughout Placer County and collectively serve more than 410,000 residents. The next slide shows the locations and boundaries of these districts. All right, as shown on this slide, the district services all incorporated cities and the unincorporated western boundary or western portion of the county, as well as the southeastern unincorporated portion bordering Lake Tahoe. Within these services, there are a combined total of 16 cemetery sites. Next slide, please. Thank you. As Carol briefly mentioned, at a high level, the goal with this MSR is to provide an independent assessment of the agency's historical service performance, as well as its performance over the next few years. MSRs capture and analyze information about the governance models and efficiencies of service providers within the county that are subject to LAFCO's oversight. As required under the statute, there are several determinations that must be made, which are listed on this slide. These notably include attesting to the agency's growth trends, capacity of their facilities, and the adequacy of providing services now and into the foreseeable future. This extends to their financial ability to provide their services. We will briefly walk through these demonstrations on the next few slides. All right, we will begin with covering the 5 sphere of influence determinations. This slide summarizes the sphere of influence determinations for the 6 cemetery districts. Overall, our analysis found that the proposed SOIs generally reflect existing land use patterns, anticipate service needs, and the communities currently served by each district. We found that the districts have adequate facilities and infrastructure to provide their existing services. The proposed SOIs were developed to align with existing communities and service relationships while recognizing future service needs where appropriate. Lastly, while several disadvantaged unincorporated communities were identified within or adjacent to existing and proposed SOIs, we did not identify any cemetery service deficiencies affecting those communities. Moving on to the service review determinations. Next slide, please. Thank you. All right, we will be highlighting the key strengths and challenges and service-related findings identified through our analysis of each district. Regarding growth and service capacity, the cemetery districts generally serve mature and established communities, and as a result, significant population growth within district boundaries is not anticipated. While a few cemetery sites are approaching capacity constraints, our review found that the districts overall maintain adequate facilities and available capacity to continue serving both current and future demands within their service areas. Next slide. Overall, the districts demonstrated stable financial conditions and the ability to continue providing services. While the audit information was unavailable for Colfax and Tahoe City, the remaining districts generally maintained positive financial positions during the review period. We also found limited opportunities for additional shared services beyond the existing administrative service agreements currently utilized by Colfax and Tahoe City. Next slide. All right, lastly, as a part of our accountability review, we identified a few governance-related considerations. Specifically, the City of Colfax and Tahoe City cemetery districts do not hold regular meetings in accordance with the frequency contemplated under the Principal Act. In addition, Tahoe City Cemetery District does not employ professional staff to oversee day-to-day operations and administrative functions. While these issues have not prevented service delivery, addressing them could strengthen transparency, accountability, and long-term organizational capacity. As a part of this MSR, RSG is recommending these districts establish active websites and ensure meetings are regularly conducted to ensure compliance with applicable statutes. Right, on that topic, we will now be going over the proposed SOI, followed by additional recommendations, and I will hand this over to Carol.
Thank you, Kendall. So before we review the individual sphere of influence recommendations for the districts, I would like to highlight that there's a common theme that emerged during the preparation of this MSR. So in several cases, cemetery district planning boundaries no longer reflect the cities and communities they are most closely associated with today. So while cities have expanded over time, many cemetery districts' boundaries and spheres have remained unchanged. So as a result, many of the proposed sphere updates that are reflected in the report before you today are really intended to better align planning boundaries with current communities of interest, existing service patterns, and anticipated future service needs. So the following slides really illustrate each recommendation and the rationale supporting those proposed changes. Next slide, please. So as summarized on this table, most recommendations or sphere recommendations involve either establishing a formal sphere where one does not currently exist, or refining existing spheres to better reflect the community each district serves. So while the recommendations vary by district, the overarching objective is to create more logical and consistent planning boundaries throughout the county. So the maps on the next few slides help illustrate each proposed update and provide additional details. Next slide, please. So the map before you shows the proposed sphere of influence update for the Auburn and Colfax cemetery districts. Now for Auburn Cemetery District, we are recommending that the commission proceed to expand the sphere to align with the City of Auburn's jurisdictional boundary. For the Colfax Cemetery District, we recommend the commission proceed to establish a provisional co-terminus sphere of influence that reflects the district's existing service area while allowing time for the district to address the governance, staffing, and administrative challenges that are identified in the report. Next slide. So these proposed sphere updates affect NRG, Placer Cemetery District 1, and the Roseville Cemetery District. So for NRG, we are recommending that the commission proceed to expand the sphere of influence to align with the City of Rockland's jurisdictional boundary. And then for the Placer Cemetery District 1, we are recommending expanding the sphere to align with the City of Lincoln's jurisdictional boundary. Now, both of these recommendations reflect existing community boundaries and anticipated future service needs. And then for the Roseville Cemetery District, we recommend the Commission establish a formal sphere and expand it to align with the City of Roseville's boundary. Now, we also recommend that Roseville Cemetery District sphere be reduced in the area that covers the City of Rockland to better align the sphere of the district with its logical service boundaries and avoid any overlap with areas that are more appropriately associated with neighboring districts. Next slide, please. So lastly, and this is specific to the Tahoe City Cemetery District, RSG is recommending that the Commission establish a coterminous sphere of influence that reflects the district's current service area. While the district has expressed interest in expanding its sphere to include the communities of King Beach and Carnelian Bay, we are recommending deferring consideration of any expansion of its sphere until the governance, staffing, and administrative challenges identified in the report have been addressed. Next slide. Alrighty, so while the proposed sphere updates discussed previously are recommendations for the Commission's consideration, our review also identified several longer-term boundary considerations that may warrant future evaluation. So specifically, during our review of the cemetery district's boundaries and the associated tax rate areas, we identified several instances where portions of the cities of Auburn, Lincoln, Roseville, and Rockland are located within neighboring cemetery districts. And so while these arrangements are permissible, they may contribute to public confusion regarding service providers and create property tax allocation concerns or considerations. And so these opportunities that are presented in the next few slides are really intended as long-range planning considerations only and would require additional study, stakeholder coordination, and future applications to LAFCO before any formal boundary change could be considered. Next slide, please. So as summarized in the table, the potential future boundary adjustments, again, are intended to address the identified tax rate area and jurisdictional boundary inconsistencies that we uncovered through this process. Now, in most cases, the concept would be to transition territory into the cemetery district that most closely is associated with the city in which the territory is located. The exception is the Granite Bay community, where both NRG and Roseville Cemetery District currently provide overlapping service area coverage. And so given the additional property tax and governance consideration associated with the Granite Bay community, the MSR before you is recommending further evaluation before any specific boundary adjustment is pursued. And we do have a map on the next slide that helps illustrate these areas and their relationship to the existing cemetery district boundaries. If we can go to that next slide, that would be great. Thank you. So the map illustrates the specific locations where jurisdictional boundaries and city boundaries are not fully aligned. So areas 1 through 4 reflect the same general pattern identified throughout the report. Territory located within one city, but currently assigned to a neighboring cemetery district. So should the affected districts wish to pursue future boundary changes, these areas could be evaluated for transition into the cemetery district that is most closely associated with the respective city. As discussed previously, this could help improve consistency between district boundaries, communities of interest, and service area identities. Now, Area 5 represents the Granite Bay community, and like we've mentioned, it is somewhat unique and different from the others. So unlike these other examples, this area involves the overlapping service relationships and additional property tax considerations between NRG and Roseville Cemetery District. And so for that reason, the MSR recommends additional analysis and coordination before any specific boundary adjustments are considered. Again, I would like to reemphasize that these are not recommendations for the Commission's actions today or when the final report is to be received, but rather as long-term planning considerations that the districts may wish to evaluate through future discussions and, if appropriate, subsequent applications to LAFCO. Next slide. And now, before concluding, we would like to highlight several governance and administrative recommendations that are identified in the MSR or that we've uncovered through this process. And so while most of the districts are operating effectively, as you heard from Kendall, the review identified some capacity, staffing, and governance challenges specifically associated with Colfax Cemetery District and the Tahoe City Cemetery District that warrant additional attention and monitoring by LAFCO. Next slide. So beyond the sphere of influence and boundary recommendations that have been discussed previously, the MSR identified several governance-related recommendations for the Colfax and Tahoe City Cemetery districts. So for Colfax Cemetery District, the primary focus is restoring organizational stability through filling board vacancies, reestablishing regular board meetings, and ensuring that continued operational oversight following recent staff and leadership turnover. And now for the Tahoe City Cemetery districts, the recommendation really focuses on strengthening administrative capacity through regular board meetings, improved financial oversight, formalized administrative support arrangements, and evaluation of additional staffing resources. And so given the nature of these challenges, the report recommends that LAFCO conduct periodic check-ins over the next year to monitor progress and provide accountability as the districts work towards implementing said recommendations. And so these are the primary findings recommendations that result from the MSR. And to conclude, I would like to briefly review or flag staff's recommendation, which is covered on the next slide. And this includes just discussing next steps for advancing this admin draft through the public review process. If we can go to the next slide. So before we open up the presentation and report for discussion by the commission as well as the public, we'd like to just briefly highlight LAFCO staff's recommendation, which is listed here on this slide, and that includes staff recommending the commission receive the admin draft MSR and SOI update, provide your initial direction and feedback as necessary, and open the 45-day public review period. The goal would be to return the final MSR and SOI at your August 12th meeting following completion of the public review process. So that concludes our presentation today, and I would be happy to help answer any questions or comments from the commission. Our goal here is to really ensure that we refine this report and get it aligned before the commission takes action to adopt. So thank you very much. Return it back to you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, does anybody have any questions from the commission?
I do. I raised it. Good afternoon, and thank you for your presentation. I had a couple of questions. In general, the financial numbers are sometimes rounded, sometimes they're not for the various cemeteries. So that was somewhat inconsistent, and sometimes the numbers were hard to follow. I was really focused on both Colfax and Tahoe City cemetery districts, and so I can get you those numbers and questions I have. In general, Colfax's numbers were exact. In Tahoe City's, they were rounded. And then I flipped through some of the others. I apologize, I didn't have time to go through all of these pages completely. But in general, I assume you want these typos submitted to you so that they can be corrected for the public. One in particular is on page 334 of our packet, or 238 of your report, says that overall Tahoe's assets have increased by $45.8 million over the last 4 years, when their annual budget's about $80,000. So I think that's a pretty big. I don't want anyone thinking Tahoe City Cemetery District is sitting on that kind of assets. But I think the bigger question I have is, one of the reasons I think we embarked on this effort was that we did have potentially failing public cemeteries, and I'm concerned, that how we use this document and address these issues in districts that can bear, they need websites. Some of them have hardly any money to do a website and continue their operations. And so it seems like maybe the recommendations need to go further into tax shares or some level of assistance, because I can tell you, for instance, Tahoe City doesn't have an adjacent district to ask for help from. Colfax maybe could, although in the past I know, because I've been involved in discussions, Auburn Cemetery isn't interested, but we potentially have a failing district there too. And so I'm just wondering, when, as LAFCO, do we step in and say, this is a real concern for the public to address and help their cemetery district stay alive in some fashion? first question. And secondly, if the districts don't have enough resources to hire the people to do an application with us to go through a dissolution, who pays for that? And how do we approach that? Because I think some of them are just barely getting by.
I'm happy to speak to our commitment to ensuring that the financial data is updated and, catches those typos. That was a mistake. I do want to also just emphasize that for the Colfax and Tahoe cemetery districts, those two agencies are behind on completing their required audits each year. And so we had to rely on data reported to the state controller's office, which is very limited in nature, and it's really hard to decipher certain revenue and expenditure categories. Often you'll get a null, which just means the data was not reported. And so we had to work within those constraints. But we do see that there are some typos. So like I mentioned, we are committed to revising those and getting those corrected before the report returns to you all for consideration. So I appreciate you flagging those issues. And then we do agree that in particular, those two are struggling cemetery districts, and I'm open to LAFCO staff's insight, because I do know that in terms of paying for certain LAFCO applications, depending on the commission's policies, there are opportunities for waivers to waive those fees associated with the application, which I would defer to Colette and Amanda to speak a little more so on that. And then in terms of when there's something to do, we do have some language in there that contemplates, a LAFCO initiated dissolution. And so I think the report is leaning towards taking a more firm stance to address the concerns here. But we are certainly welcome to revising or using this MSR as a tool to find a solution for these struggling agencies.
And I greatly appreciate the comments you did put in there. I did read those recommendations, and it gives them each a year to try to stabilize or figure out another path forward. But I did want to flag it for the public, because part of our job is making sure the public understands the situation these districts find themselves in. In both situations, we've had to approach, well, certainly with Tahoe City, approach the county auditor to do the audits, because there aren't many auditors who will take on a very tiny district like this and do an audit. And so the county auditor had handled one of the audits, and then also extended the time frame so that they don't have to do an annual audit over $75,000 or $80,000. But we're trying our best to support these districts. But in fact, in Tahoe City, I haven't any calls from constituents. In Colfax, I was getting calls from constituents who couldn't bury their loved ones, couldn't get headstones set up, those sorts of things. So we know they're struggling, they admit they're struggling, and we need a path forward for the public. So I just want to make sure the full commission understands now that they see the finances may be better, and so I appreciate that, the struggles these districts have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other commissioner
Yes,
comments?
I have a procedural question. I have comments throughout the document that are, some of them are questions and some are requests. And I would presume that you want those during the public comment period, not at this point. So we'll wait
Yeah,
for my comments for public comment to be opened. Thank you.
yeah,
Oh, thank you for that correction. I guess
okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and open the public comment period. Is there anybody that would like to make a comment from the public in the chambers? Seeing none. Is there anybody online? No hands raised. Okay, thank you. Closing the public comment period and bringing it back to our commission for further discussion. Commissioner Rohan.
I appreciate having the clarification, because I don't want anybody to think I'm a good reader, but I do have a lot of comments, and so I'll try to make them succinct. Anywhere where you are recommending a boundary change because city boundaries have changed, or where you think there is a community of interest that is not being served in the right district, or where there's a double district serving. I'd like to, as a reader, have much clearer exhibits of where they are. So if you could do that for the final document, that would be helpful. I had a question on page 144 of our staff report of the MSR. It's at the bottom, Lake of the Pines. There is a recommendation here to, I believe, to consider in the future bringing this Nevada County area into the, is it the Auburn Cemetery District? And I was curious about, one, does that require coordination with the Nevada LAFCO? Does it involve tax share agreements? I'd just like to have a better understanding of the steps, because the people from Lake of the Pines have not made the long-term financial commitment to that Auburn Cemetery District through the years. How do you make that right?
That's a great question, and
it doesn't need to be answered here necessarily, but I think it needs to be clarified in the final document. We need more information about that, I believe, as readers.
Absolutely acknowledge, and we'll ensure that that's reflected in the next version you see.
Can I just add in one comment on that?
Yes.
Part of the reason I think that occurs is Lake of the Pines has an address. Their city address is Auburn, California. So as many people don't seem to know what county they live in or city they live in, when their mailing address says Auburn, they assume, and so I think that's part of the misunderstanding of Lake of the Pines residents thinking they should have an opportunity to be in the Auburn.
I appreciate that.
But that could happen
I believe
anywhere.
that because talk about that situation in Roseville, north and west.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also happens with Colfax, by the way, in Meta Vista.
Yep.
Is that even though those communities are tied, but they have a separate zip code, but they're geographically not in the same community.
Right.
I think the bulk of my comments are summarized in concern about reading those exhibits on the boundaries. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rohan. Do we have any other commissioner comments?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Judy? Commissioner?
I'm wearing a couple of hats here.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of inconsistencies that I see within this. And just looking at the Tahoe City Cemetery District inconsistencies, just right off the cuff, we don't have niches, for example. I mean, and there are other inconsistencies that I will submit in writing, and I apologize that I didn't get them to you by Memorial Day as I was supposed to have. But it makes me, again, Susan, or Commissioner Rohan, as you've pointed out, question some of the other things in here that I kind of didn't really understand. And so some clarity on the final would be really helpful as to where some of this came from. Commissioner Gustafson spoke to the challenges that we had in getting an audit done, and yet there was a 5-year audit that was completed, and when asked about it, I said, yes, that's been completed, and that hasn't been updated, I guess. We will be beginning the second 5-year audit July 7th. So some of these things are in progress, but I'm not quite sure. It refers then to Tahoe City, and again, I'm kind of wearing two hats here, as struggling, when in fact, I will correct my title, I suppose, is something that needs to be corrected. And the code that says meeting every quarter, even though we're closed for 7 months out of the year, the board is now committed to doing some of that. So I will be correcting some of this, but it makes me question some of the things that I'm not as familiar with. So clarity on that would be really helpful.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments from commissioners? Okay, seeing none, can I get a motion to open the 45-day public comment review period to continue? Did we?
Didn't we?
We got a motion already?
We did. You don't?
Nope.
Oh.
I'll make a motion for the 45-day period. A committee, was it something?
Public hearing.
Public hearing committee, a hearing, 45 days.
Thank you. You have first? Motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
And a second?
I'm sorry, I have a question on the motion to council. Should I recuse from this vote since it's only for the hearing, or?
I'm not aware of any reason you need to recuse yourself from a vote on this item, which is merely to, assuming the motion, I want to be clear, is the motion is to adopt staff's recommendation as on the screen. If that's what the motion is, and I'm not aware of any reason that you need to recuse yourself from a vote on that recommendation.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. Is there any further discussion? No? Okay, can I get a roll call?
All right. Commissioner Alpine.
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei. He stepped out. Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan.
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood.
Yes.
And Chair Eklund.
Yes. Thank you. All right, moving on to C, LAFCO Fee Schedule Update. This was continued from April 8th, commission meeting. Can we get a staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
So as you are all aware, LAFCO is authorized to recover the reasonable costs associated with processing applications, conducting studies, and providing other LAFCO services. The Commission's fee schedule establishes staff charge-out rates and other fees used to calculate the cost of services provided by LAFCO staff. As part of the fiscal year 26-27 work plan and budget, the Commission authorized additional staffing positions to support agency operations, project processing, and implementation of work plan priorities. So to ensure the fee schedule accurately reflects anticipated staffing costs, an update is necessary to establish charge-out rates for the new positions and revise rates for existing positions based on the adopted budget. So the proposed fee schedule would add charge-out rates for 3 new staff classifications and update the rates for the executive officer and the administrative technician / clerk position. Staff charge-out rates are calculated using a weighted labor rate methodology that allocates the employee's salaries and benefits by classification while distributing the services and supplies costs equally among all staff positions. The proposed revisions are intended solely to reflect the Commission's updated staffing structure and adopted budget. No changes are proposed to application processing assumptions or estimated staff hours at this time. It's anticipated that the incoming executive officer would then review our policy on this, so that's policy 1.13, to ensure that staffing time allocations and application processing costs are reflected with workload distribution among the staff classifications as staff are hired. So right now, it's only hours for the EO and the admin tech / analyst position, and then those would be updated as staff get hired into those positions. So staff recommends the Commission adopt Resolution number 2026-06, approving the revised fee schedule effective August 9th, 2026. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Amanda. All right, do we have any initial comments from the Commission?
I do have a question. I just wanted to confirm, when we talked about this during our agenda review, I asked if we have cost recovery of our attorney's costs. And
yes.
we do.
Yes, that's part of that calculation. It includes those services and supplies costs in that total.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
Any other initial questions or comments from the Commission? Okay, I'm opening up for public comment. Is there anybody in the chambers that would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, do we have any hands raised online? Okay, so now I'm closing the comments for this hearing and bringing it back to the Commission for further discussion. Any further discussion? No?
If there's no discussion, I'd make a recommendation that the Commission adopt resolution number 26-06.
Second.
Approving the revised fee schedule.
Second.
First and a second. Thank you. Can we get a roll call?
Commissioner Alpine.
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei.
Yes.
Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan.
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood.
Yes.
And Chair Eklund.
Yes. Thank you. All right, moving on to D, LAFCO policy review and update. Can you get a
All right.
staff report, please?
Yes. So before you is agenda item 7D. It's a public hearing to consider proposed revisions to policies contained in Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 of our policy manual. As you may recall, the Commission approved the resolution number 2511, which adopted the Placer LAFCO policy manual as a whole in November. During this public hearing, the Placer County Auditor Controller provided public comments expressing concerns regarding certain financial standards contained in Chapter 2. So once we adopted the manual with additional direction to staff to review those fiscal policies and coordinate with the Auditor Controller and return at a future meeting with the proposed amendments. So the policies we looked at were policies 2.3, asset management, policy 2.6, purchasing and procurement, policy 2.7, internal financial control, and policy 2.8, travel and expense reimbursements. We worked with we provided the Placer County Auditor Controller's Office our revisions on April 29th. They provided feedback, and we also had our legal counsel review the final proposed changes. And so after those, all of those changes can be found in attachment B, which starts on page 376. Policy 2.3 was updated to establish that LAFCO's tracking thresholds and lifespan standards for capital assets will follow the rules and policies set forth by the Placer County Auditor Controller. Policy 2.6, the purchasing procurement, was revised to require compliance with the Placer County credit card policy in the event we have a credit card in the future, and also to specify that sales receipts and credit card slips must be itemized per our policy 2.8. Policy 2.7, the internal financial control, was modified to adopt and maintain the most current Placer County accounting policies and procedures manual, and updated the list of services the county provides to LAFCO. We also added language to clarify that LAFCO will follow county financial guidelines unless they conflict with LAFCO's own policies. For policy 2.8, the travel policy, we revised this to incorporate travel request forms and require that county-issued credit cards, when available, be used for LAFCO arranged meals, and state that expense reports with itemized receipts should be submitted within 30 days and no later than 120 days unless an extension is approved by the commission chair. We also, just with our daily operations, discovered a few policies in Chapter 3 that needed some refinement to be a little more clear and also reorganized a little bit. So policy 3.1, rules of order, we revised this to relocate sections 8 to 10 to policy 3.3, which is the designation of commissioners, chair and vice chair. And because it was related to that, to keep it in the correct policy. And we added reports from staff and correspondence to the order of business on our agendas for our regular meetings. Now, policy 3.3, which is the designation of commissioners, chair, and vice chair, we updated moving those sections 8 to 10 from policy 3.1 and placing that into policy 3.3. We looked at one more policy in Chapter 3, policy 3.5, the standing and ad hoc committees. We revised this to update the deadline for reapproving committee assignments to June 30th, providing additional flexibility to finalize appointments before the start of the fiscal year. So basically, they can be approved anytime before June 30th. So staff recommendation is that the commission adopt Resolution 2026-07, approving updates to the Placer LAFCO Policy Manual as presented in Attachment A. Policy 2607, approving updates to the Placer LAFCO Policy Manual as presented in Attachment A, Exhibit A.
Thank you, Amy.
Are there any questions?
Have any commissioner questions? Okay, seeing none, open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the chambers that has any questions? Anybody online?
No hands are raised?
Okay, seeing none, open it back up to the commission.
I have a
Commissioner
comment.
Alpine?
I have a quick question, actually. On page 282. 282? 382. Parking and tolls, $7. I know it's minuscule. I should have called you guys before, but I was just thinking maybe that should be 10. All bridge tolls are at like $10, or $8.50 Golden Gate's up. Yeah, I don't know if you're traveling further than that or not, but or 7. It's set at 7. I was just wondering where the 7 get. It's the county, it's a county
That was
deal.
the county.
If it's just for ease, I was just gonna ask, I mean, I don't know how often we go to Sacramento or like take a bridge toll, but the bridge toll's at $8.50 right now.
That's just receipts.
Yeah, just
Under
receipts.
7, you don't need a receipt. Above 7, you're supposed to.
Just saying.
I know.
7 is fine. I was just asking, I was gonna kick it to staff if it was a hindrance, be open to adjusting that, but.
Right? It's gonna change again next month.
Dynamic.
It changes to
process.
$9, I think, every next year.
It was a good
But
thought.
anyways, I just thought, bring it up.
Yeah, thank you.
7 it is, 7 it is.
Okay, do we have any other comments?
$10 back.
No? Okay, can I get a motion
Well,
to
it's a little bit
approve?
difficult going through now.
Motion to approve?
Second.
First and second, and can we get a roll call, Amy?
Commissioner Alpine.
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei.
Yes.
Commissioner Friedman. Commissioner Gustafson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan.
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood.
Yes.
And Chair Eklund.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to 8 business items. 8A, LAFCO Project 2026-01, Town of North Tahoe Incorporation, Fiscal Analysis Agreement. Can I get a staff report, please?
All right. Yeah, of course. Thank you. This agenda item 8A relates to the Town of North Tahoe Incorporation application. As the commission knows, Eastern Placer Futures submitted an incorporation application by registered voter petition. And one of the statutory requirements for any incorporation proposal is for LAFCO to prepare an independent comprehensive fiscal analysis, or CFA, under Government Code Section 56800. Staff's been working with both the applicant and Placer County to scope the request for qualifications for the comprehensive fiscal analysis, and representatives from all 3 parties are expected to participate in consultant interviews and selection process. The RFQ has been released and was included as attachment A to this staff report, or this agenda item. The deadline for statements of qualifications from qualified consulting firms is June 29th. Interviews are tentatively scheduled for the week of July 13th, and selection and contract negotiations expected through the end of July and into possibly early August. The action before you today is consideration for delegation of contract authorities being provided to the executive officer or interim executive officer, subject to final approval by the LAFCO chair once a consultant has been selected through the RFQ process. And this was suggested and requested as a potential option at the May LAFCO meeting. And the purpose really is to streamline the project schedule and avoid any delays and having to return to the commission for contract approval after consultant interviews and negotiations are completed. The proposed delegation includes several safeguards. The contract would be limited to services identified in the RFQ. The executive officer or interim executive officer would determine that the contract amount is consistent with what is typically paid for similar services by California public agencies, and the final agreement would require approval by the LAFCO chair before execution. There's no fiscal impact to the LAFCO budget, consistent with LAFCO's incorporation policies and all other types of boundary changes or applications. All costs associated with the application and with the CFA or comprehensive fiscal analysis will be paid by the applicant. Additional deposits will be required before any consultant work proceeds, and we're thinking that would be tied to the phase 1 or phase 2. Staff's recommendation is that the commission delegate authority to the executive officer or interim executive officer to execute the comprehensive fiscal analysis consulting agreement, subject to chair approval within the parameters outlined in the staff report and RFQ. And I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Colette. Do you have any initial commissioner questions?
I have a question. Colette, I think at one point we discussed how the consultant would be chosen and the interviews. Would you be including the applicant and the county along with LAFCO? Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure the commission understood that, because obviously they're paying for, the applicant's paying for it, and it has pretty profound impacts on county workload to produce the documents, this variety of documents with all these different sub areas that you're talking about. So I just wanted to make sure they were engaged and had buy-in into that consultant contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm very much engaged. We have a meeting, the three of us, next week, and we'll be proceeding through the consultant selection process collectively.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Just for the panel. Yes. Thank you.
Do we have any other comments or questions? No. Okay. Do I need a motion and a second to provide authority? Or we got to open it to the public too? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Opening up comments to the public. Is there anybody in the audience that would wish to comment on this item? Seeing none. Anybody online?
No hands are raised.
Okay. I'm closing public comment, bringing it back to the commission for any further comments or approval.
I'll move approval.
Okay. First and second. Can we get a roll call?
Yeah.
Commissioner Alpine.
Yes.
Commissioner DiNattei.
Yes.
Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan.
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood.
Yes.
And Chair Eklund.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Colette. Okay. Now we're moving to item 8B, Executive Officer's Report.
I will keep this as short as I can. I do want to recognize and just express appreciation for all your hard work today. So we'll review this executive officer's report. We have it organized into applications, municipal service reviews, and administrative and organizational updates. A lot of this has been reviewed today. A lot of, all of these items are covered in the work plan. And so we'll just go through them really quickly. So Town of North Tahoe, as I mentioned, the request for qualifications for the comprehensive fiscal analysis has been released, sent to many consulting firms for consideration, and we'll be expecting the statements of qualifications by the end of the month. Deadline is June 29th. And then I'm also going to be now transitioning my attention to the next request for proposals, which would be for include project management, CEQA special counsel, and environmental review services. So that will follow. Those need to go concurrently. The environmental review, it does take time, and that needs to go concurrently with the comprehensive fiscal analysis. So we're going to be moving into that phase as well. The South Placer Municipal Utility District, the single parcel at 2891 Swetzer Road, that annexation is still awaiting completion of property tax exchange negotiations between the county and the district. I followed up with both since it is taking, it's past like the 90-day typical period. So I'm hoping we can make progress with this and consider other options as well. For municipal service reviews, cemetery district MSR will come back in August. I appreciate your really diligent review. Please send any comments and anything, any items. If you continue your review, I know that it's a large document. So if there's any additional comments, questions, technical corrections between now and the August hearing, please send those to staff and we'll forward those to RSG. For the Eastern Placer County Fire and EMS MSR being prepared by ESCI, that's continuing through the admin draft review phase. It's gone back to the agencies. And we were hoping
Sorry,
to bring...
Colette, I don't mean to interrupt, but it has not gone back to the agencies yet. I'm
Not
still
yet?
reviewing
Not
that.
quite?
Not
Okay,
quite yet.
thank
Yeah,
you.
just
We're so
clarify.
close.
Yeah, we're close.
And when do you think that's going back to the agencies, Amanda?
I'm hoping to get it out to them next week.
Okay, thank you. I knew we were close. Okay, so very soon it will be going back to the agencies for their second round of review. And so we were hoping to bring that in July. It's most likely looking like August. So we'll keep the commission up to date on that. And then with regard to administrative and organizational updates, executive officer recruitment is ongoing. Analyst 1 recruitment, I did receive an update from Placer HR, and they're going to be providing a summary of applications and follow up very soon. And then the next item that I'm going to continue to focus my attention and, I'm going to be around. My contract was extended today. Thank you for, 3 months. This memorandum of understanding between LAFCO and the county and updating it. It's, over 30 years old. Working really collaboratively with the county to make updates and clarify roles and responsibilities. That is an important outcome that I want to see through. So I'm going to make sure that that happens in the coming months as well. And with that is my staff report, and I'm available for any questions.
Great. Thank you, Colette. All right. Do we have any questions from the commission?
I just had a quick comment. Before any more MSRs come for public release, if we could make sure staff review for just those typos and grammar changes, because I do think we waste, it's a poor reflection on us.
Yes, it is.
And I believe when we put out a product to the public, they shouldn't be fixing our typos. I mean, you're going to miss some, but not to the amount I saw. So, I know the fire one, I believe, is the next one, Eastern Fire, and I've heard that there's some issues with that consultant as well from the fire districts. So I just want to make sure that we really have good, accurate MSRs coming forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree. Thank you. Do we have any other comments? No? Okay. So this is information only. We don't need any votes. Okay. Thank you, Colette. So moving on to closed session attendance. Commission will determine whether the alternate commissioners have an essential role to play in the following closed session item and thus may attend the closed session. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the alternates attending closed session.
I'll second. Oh,
You second.
you got it.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Can I get a roll call, Amy, please?
Commissioner Alpine.
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei.
Yes.
Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
Commissioner Gustafson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan.
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood.
Yes.
And Chair Eklund.
Yes, thank you. All right, moving on to item 10, closed session. I'm going to recess for a closed session for public employee appointment of the executive officer. Oh, we can move to.
Yeah, why don't we
we'll
take
go.
a walk?
Yeah.
We've been sitting down too long.
Do we have any reportable action?
So we're back on the record on this item. Yes, there is a reportable action. There is a reportable action. By a vote of 7-0, the commission has selected a candidate to appoint as the commission's executive officer, subject to the negotiation of a mutually acceptable employment contract. When and if that occurs, then the commission will announce who the person is who has been appointed.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to 11, correspondence. Any questions or comments regarding any of the correspondence in our packets? Okay, seeing none. Okay, and then we'll move on to 12. Commissioner comments?
A couple comments. I'd like to thank staff, Amanda especially, for helping with Midway Heights. And I know that they had a new board of directors and there, and they were inquiring about LAFCO and their MSR. And I appreciate you reaching out to them and setting up a meeting to explain some of the process of what they're going through. And also your help with Colfax Cemetery District. As you know, they have a new board of directors. They've been trying to get a lot of information together, and you were very helpful about getting some of the documents and, that they were requesting as they're trying to get back on their feet and get that district kind of sailing right. So I really appreciate all the help that you guys have been for those special districts. And thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Alpine. Do you have any other commissioner comments? No? Okay, then can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. First and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Okay, and our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, July 8th at 4 p.m. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.